Welcome back to the Bear Butt documentary, part 2 of my series on this interesting company and my interactions with them. I have a quick recap here for you, for those who missed part 1 or don't remember, and then we'll get into it. A while ago, I decided to replace my backpack. Now we need to take a quick detour from backpacks, but don't worry, we'll be back. A friend of mine said, quote, "Check out Bear Butt. They are cheap, and all parachute hammocks are the same."
Many months later.
That brings us to now. As of making the video in November 2019, over a year since I signed up for Kickstarter, I will never get a backpack from Bear Butt because they filed for bankruptcy earlier this year.
The goal at Bear Butt is for us to become the largest company in the whole entire world in the outdoor industry, and this vlog is going to show you from day one of us trying to achieve that all the way until we do, so come watch the journey.
But let's look at how people on Kickstarter felt about the idea of them not getting their backpacks. These are some older screenshots from Kickstarter, but you can see that people are asking for more information from the team. Quick caveat here, I'll be reading from bottom to top when I show Kickstarter comments because of the way their interface orders the comment threads. Lori starts us off by, at the time of this screenshot, pointing out that it had been 5 months since the fundraising portion of the campaign had closed, and we still didn't have our product. And Max, a super backer, which means he bought all 3 of the products, the backpack, the sleeping bag, and the jacket. He even backed them after learning the product would be made in China. And don't worry about Simon at the top, you'll see him again. Notice their response to Brittany. This is a common theme throughout the next couple of minutes of my video, where they stay positive and use lots of exclamation points, but they don't provide any real information and confirm that the product has been pushed out as far as delivery goes. Another comment saying that they hope to arrive in October, but they're going to post an official update. Heidi starts off nice. She says, "Hey, Bear Butt." She includes a smiley face. She asks for a picture. And then she says, "So the reason why you couldn't post any production pictures here is because you did not have it produced yet." Lori's back, and she's voicing concerns about sizing for the different jackets being made in China versus being made in the United States. Bear Butt says that Michael and Matthew have been very hands-on with the whole process to ensure that everything is exactly how they were making them. And they're going to post an official shipping update within the next few days. This is one of my favorite Kickstarter comments. Robert gets right to the point and says, "Updates on backpacks, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark." And then this is Bear Butt's favorite response, that they'll post an official update within the next few days. Once again, we see people unsure of where to find updates or asking if there have been any updates. And you can see that at this point, Bear Butt had pushed delivery to December. Okay, I told you Simon would be back. He points out their discrepancy, that they said they would be delivered in August, and then a month after they were supposed to be delivered, he said they will be delivered in December because production had just started. And then he said even 23 days ago, we're going to start shipping them in September. He said, "Is this a scan?" And I think he meant scam. And Bear Butt says, "This is not a scam. We will only update you with the information we have at the time." They really push this narrative of only having so much information that they can provide at any given time. Here's the first post I have where they reference the fact that they cannot issue refunds. They say setbacks can and will happen with any Kickstarter project, and none of them expected it to take this long. Then they also said that they aren't willing to cut corners just so they can hurry up and get us the gear sooner, which is really what all of these people in the Kickstarter comments want, is their gear so they can use it. Another person asking for a refund, even going so far as to say they're being stern. And then Bear Butt remaining positive, using an exclamation point, saying they've never been dishonest. Once again saying they can only give any information they have at the time, and then also repeating that delays are common with Kickstarter products and that they're doing everything they can to get us the best quality gear possible. Another person asking for a refund. They say that they missed trips that they were planning to use the bag on. I hope that means that they just didn't get to use the bag and not that they didn't get to go on the trips. I realize a lot of these posts are repeats of one another, but I want to show you how consistent people are with asking for a refund and how consistent Bearbud is with their communication, that they've always given us the information they had at the time and that they're no longer issuing refunds and they're using exclamation points. This one is very important for you to read. Simon asks if they can comment on the update and about lying, and Bearbud says they're sorry if they feel like that we've been lied to, but they've always updated us with the information they had at the time, and that this is a Kickstarter project and delays can be expected. And then a super backer, once again someone who bought all 3 products, he says, I do appreciate you guys maintaining positive attitudes. I know it's not easy. He said, having said all that, you can't just say because this is a Kickstarter project, delays can be expected. Some have delays, some don't, some are early, but other projects aren't relevant. We are here on this project, so make it about this project. And Bearbud did not respond to Brad after he left that comment. This person threatens to go to the Better Business Bureau and gives them a deadline of 72 hours. So I can just imagine this is some sort of evil genius sitting there waiting for their backpack. More refunds, more people saying they love their hammocks, and you can see here a super backer is being positive. He finishes his comment with, I'm with you, Bearbud. So they haven't lost everyone at this point, but there's definitely a lot of complaining. Our good friend Simon is back, and he asked for pictures. Bearbud references him to Matthew and Michael's Instagram stories. Matthew is the COO and Michael is the CEO for sneak peeks. And he says he just checked and he doesn't see any new pictures from current production or that it finally started. And a superbacker says smart to ask for pictures. Simon asks again, and they once again reference him to these 2 Instagram stories. And Simon says, do you even check their accounts? There's nothing about this campaign. They are showing a new backpack that has nothing to do with this campaign. And don't worry, we will get to that in a later episode, because it is a very interesting coincidence that they have a new backpack on their Instagram stories while this is going on. Another comment about the Instagram stories. Also, this person says they know the pictures don't stick around very long, which, if that's how Instagram stories work, yes. And then they respond to JA and say that they actually have samples of each project and they have been definitely checking in with their manufacturer and are in constant contact with them, and yet still no pictures are available or any update on the progress. Simon is relentless, and I half expected him to make a documentary about his interactions with Bearbud, as Lori once again asks if we can get the products before next camping season. The reason there are so many of these questions for pictures and the different things like that is because they literally only updated the Kickstarter 10 times in 18 months. You can see here, Simon once again asks for pictures, and we get exclamation points and apologies and no real information. I'm just amazed that they went so far as to say that they promise the money has not gone to the new venture and production is absolutely underway, and they would never ever lie or just take our money and run. They are very, very clear about this, and they absolutely want us to understand that is not the case. Rosie mentions another new venture. Rosie mentions also selling Bearbud for money. I don't think that was a plan from the beginning, but we'll see. I really appreciate you sticking with me in this episode. I know there's not a lot as many action shots, and it's a lot of screenshots and reading, but you'll see where I'm going with this in a minute. I want to show you some screenshots from other platforms of social media, and then you'll start to see the bigger picture of why I've gone to all this trouble during this episode. Here's a long comment chain where Eric is unaware that it's no longer being made in America, and he's just finding this out. And you can see that the first reply to him is Sammy Whitley. Now, she is Michael's wife, and she is not, from this appearance, part of the team, but as you'll come to see, she's kind of the first line of response when it comes to customer service. And I'm not exactly convinced that she's not also commenting under the Bare Butt YouTube channel profile, because she and the Bare Butt channel comment one after another pretty quickly. But you can see there she repeats kind of the verbiage from the Kickstarter comments. Halfway down the page, she says, "Hey Noah," uses an exclamation point, and then says, "When donating to a Kickstarter, you should do it knowing that things might change because they almost always do. With that said, Bare Butt is always upfront and honest with our customers. When an official decision has been made, we will notify everyone who has donated and refund those who no longer want the gear." So either she doesn't know that they can't refund people, or she's speaking out of turn without having the authority to say that they can give a refund. I wanted to include this screenshot because my name is on there. I was very active on their YouTube channel while they were posting vlogs, and I was truly excited to get my new backpack. So I just wanted to show you guys that I was part of the community around Bare Butt before they went under, and that I was not trying to be a hindrance or a negative Nancy during all of the questions surrounding the project. Here someone mentions that the website isn't working, and then this person also mentions that the website is not working. And you can see here Sammy mentions that their products have actually always been made in China. So them bringing the manufacturing to the USA was a big step for their company, but they kind of reverted back to their original state. And someone on there says that their hammocks are still being made in the US, but I'm sure that they weren't making the number of hammocks that they had been selling up to this point. This is an interesting screenshot to me because they say that they are still going to make gear in the USA. This seems to be a deviation from their standard customer service response, but you can see they're still using exclamation points and being positive, and they talk about how everyone is learning as they go. Michael left this comment on one of the earliest vlog videos, and I thought it was interesting that he was recruiting people through YouTube. And then there you see myself again being excited about Chinese-made products now. And these comments come on their YouTube videos where they actually went to China. So I thought it was just interesting that their customer service team just pretended not to know or not to be able to use Google, and acted like they were receiving new information right along with us. Possibly they were, and they were not privy to the information that Michael and Matthew had, but it is silly to think that they would not be able to look these things up for themselves.
Alright, so I'm going to talk about the Kickstarter refund situation. So when we announced that we were making our gear in China and that the delivery date for all the Kickstarter gear would be closer to like September, we got a crazy amount of people hitting us up wanting refunds. We had every single girl on the customer service team on like web chat, on texting. We were just like getting blown up, and they were so loud, they were so upset. Most of the people that were upset because of the delivery date, not because we were switching our manufacturing to China. So basically they were like, I don't want all my summer camping gear like in September when summer's over and I can't go camping. But then there was a lot that were upset that we changed our USA made gear to China made gear. So that was crazy for about a month. It's kind of died down now. Right now we are at like 210 refunds, and it equals out to about $19,000 in refunds. So again, it's like slowing down now, thankfully, but for a while there it was super crazy, super loud, but the team handled it really well, and we were able to save a couple of people, but for the most part, like, we couldn't really argue with them because we understood their situation.
So that jives with what we've seen from the YouTube comments and the Kickstarter comments so far, and I thought it was just good of them to put that girl on camera. She seems like she works hard. She's probably the one that's responding to everybody in these comments so far, and she's kept a positive attitude, which is commendable in the face of all this criticism that they received. Now I want to give you a moment to read William's comment here. He asks if they offer their employees insurance, and Bare Butt confirms that they pay 100% of their premiums. And then William says, well, hopefully your insurance carrier doesn't see your workplace culture and cancel your workers' comp or policy. Let me show you the clip that this comment refers to.
White stuff you see there, that's for our backpacks. And then the green stuff that's over there is insulation for the sleeping bags. And it's really just a pain in the butt and a good ways to space. We didn't want it here. We wanted to keep it in Salt Lake for, you know, a little bit longer till we know where it's going, because it's not staying here. But I am super tempted to jump off that third shelf into all of that white stuff, whatever that's called. I don't know what it's called. I would put on a hat, a helmet. I'd be just like Johnny Knoxville or Steve-O, and I would just swan dive right into all of it. 100 likes by Friday. Let's just get 100 by Friday, noon o'clock, swan dive, third shelf.
All right, dude.
Amen.
You're gonna step. You should just stand and jump. Pretty much it. You should just land on the table. That was good though. Do that. 3, 2, 1. That was awesome. You have to wait for him to jump.
That was a strong jump.
That was a dart.
I wanted to make sure timing was there.
Yeah. Nailed it.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
So just in case you didn't catch that, that was images of the Bare Butt employees jumping onto the packaging material that was going to be used to create our products. And here are some scenes of them climbing around and pretending that this is their home, this is where they live, and they have several floors and stories. You can see them just kind of climbing through it. He points up to another Bare Butt team member that is standing on top of the material. And as we saw, he was the first person to jump onto the material lying on the floor. So you can see why William would ask if their workers' comp policy was still in play, seeing as how they're in a industrial warehouse and they are jumping from the top rack of a storage shelf onto, who knows what kinds of material there on the floor. What's interesting is I think at this point, there's not a ton of people who are employed by Bare Butt. Now, on the topic of people employed by Bare Butt, these are more Kickstarter comments, and you can see these bottom two people, Devin and Matthew, they were actually employees at Bare Butt commenting to make it look like people were excited. And here's Devin again, and then Sammy commenting on another product that they thought they were going to try to manufacture at some point. And then Sammy, once again, being excited about the Kickstarter, acting like a backer instead of a member of the team. So I don't know if they made their employees back the Kickstarter. Okay, we are almost at the end of this episode, but here is the email that they sent when they talked about going bankrupt. You can see here they tried to show us how the Kickstarter money was spent. $50,000 on materials. They spent $100,000 on marketing. They spent $24,000 in returns, and they spent $84,000 on machines. Very interesting to see that broken down for us, and it appears they are being transparent there. So, and then they spent $120,000 on payroll. Then they claim that the Kickstarter materials were sent to China and manufactured by key partners there for fair prices, and they're waiting at the manufacturer's warehouses for a final payment for the release of goods and shipping from China to USA. So they're claiming Bare Butt doesn't have the cash to release the goods in China and get them shipped here, nor does it have the funds to refund all of the backers. I do want to point out that they did offer us an option here. There are 1,500 people that didn't get a refund, and they had some hammocks and straps left over at this time, and they said first come, first served basis. So I did reach out to Kay, listed there, to see if I could get a hammock, but I was about 2 months too late, and there were no more hammocks. She did not know what was next for Bare Butt at the time, and she said when she got new information, she would let me know. That brings us to the end of part 2, and I appreciate you hanging in there through all those screenshots and reading. I promise it's going to be worth your while. There's a lot of narrative that I was trying to show you guys throughout those screenshots and the consistency of what they were saying and who was involved in saying it, and that will come into play in another part. But part 3 coming out in a week or so will be emails and communication that I had with members of Bare Butt, the people that you've seen in their videos so far that I've shown you. And so I will be breaking down their reactions and what their thoughts were. If you want to see that, be sure to subscribe. And then comment down below what you thought was the craziest thing from the Kickstarter comments or the way that they communicated with the people on there. And if you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. And I will see you guys in part 3. Thanks for watching.